Okay, so knowing what I know now about geopolitics and the country that shall not be named, I think we owe Michael Jackson the biggest posthumous apology that has ever been issued to anyone. Look this up. There is a song that he wrote in 1993 called Don't Cry Palestine that, of course, they did not let him record or release. But also, in one of his songs, in What About Us, he says, what about the Holy Land torn apart by greed? And that's what he's referring to because he couldn't release it in any other songs. Also, go back to 1991, I think it was, the video Black or White, the full 10-minute version. I don't know if a lot of y'all know this, but there's like a section at the end of it that they made him cut out because there's a scene of him, and of course he's like, grabbing on himself like he always did, like whatever. But like they made it about that. But really, what the problem was that he took a baseball bat. Okay, he comes out as a Black Panther, as a literal Black Panther, the animal, but like, and then transforms, right, into his regular human form, takes out a baseball bat and starts smashing up all these windows and this car that has stuff like KKK power and a swastika and like other slurs and shit written on it, smashes all that up, right? Then like dances some of the like best dancing he's ever done, and then turns back into the Black Panther and walks off. And they made him get rid of that part and made him apologize for it. They were like, you're promoting violence, like they always say, right? And now knowing what we know also about him having finally gotten over and out of his contract and starting to release more stuff that was like politically charged. Like this is a person who was always about that life. And I remember making fun of him for like not liking himself or not liking his skin tone and whatever. But like that's because none of us had ever heard of vitiligo and there was no representation. And there also was not the internet where we could find out that that was, in fact, not only a real thing, but that he also had lupus and that, like, he was getting more and more ill by the day and being made fun of it, right? Not to mention, everybody forgot that he got set on fire, right? And had a giant bald patch in his head that he had to cover up with the wigs. And, like, so all the stuff that we just turned into a punchline and a joke was like real bad stuff that happened to him. And him also like standing up for blackness and not just black people, but also like indigenous people. In the Black and White video, there was a Native American group that was like he found an actual Native American group to do their actual dance and ceremony and all that. Like he was about that life, and he became just this like punchline. And I'm not even going to go into the other allegations. Let's just say that for all the stuff, especially in the black community, that he got made fun of for, like it was dead wrong. It was wrong. It was ableist. And we were not realizing that like this was somebody who was fighting a record industry that would come to crush artist after artist for actually standing up for things and actually being about that life, especially when they had as much power as Michael Jackson did. Can you imagine if Michael Jackson had continued and become like basically, an SJW with as much reach and power as he had? Do you think they would have let that rock? And I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, oh, this is conspiracy theories, but come on. Look at what we're living through, right? Stop. Yes, some things are conspiracy theories because we can't prove them because the people in power won't let us prove them, right? But now in the age of the internet, look it up. Look it up. At very least, do yourself a favor and just look up the autopsy report, which clearly says vitiligo on it. And then look up what that is and what it can do, especially when comorbid with something like lupus. We need to stop taking the bait. And we need to realize that it's easier to fool us than to convince us that we have been fooled. And this is important not just for Michael Jackson, right? There's a deeper message in this that I'm hoping that you'll read between the lines about. Bye, darlings.